Mangwanani Mwalelepo Vugenjani Vanave Africa. Welcome to the show that keeps you abreast with the latest happenings in our beautiful African continent and the rest of the world. My name is Aina Raizakoyo alongside Diana Master Mamukase.
Tamuka Mamukase.
Tamuka.
Munoshinureri.
Shirisa
Munoshinureri is basically another way of saying.
Why do you keep bringing new words every time?
So that I can just bring you off your high horse, because you know your mind, you're like, I know this. Shauna, I got this. So
okay, so what was that?
Munoshinura is directly translated, it's do you wake up? Like, that's the direct translation.
How did you wake up?
So yeah, basically.
Okay.
So it's like, how did you wake up? And then if I say munoshinura, you just say tinoshinura koini.
Off.
Now let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Tanzania lays the groundwork for issuing universal ID. Uganda enacts law to stop stealing of human organs. 2009 massacre trial suspended by lawyers. A boycott. We'll also be crossing over to Cape Town to speak to Ari Hochad as he updates us on the latest news at that side. Stick around, we'll be back with our top stories right after this break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Here are the top stories this morning. Tanzania lays the groundwork for issuing universal ID. Tanzania is consulting the US-based Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on the possibility of establishing the Universal National Identification Card. It was revealed in Parliament. A new move is meant to integrate the national ID card with other IDs and cut costs that the government is incurring in purchasing raw cards and printing of IDs, according to Home Affairs Minister Hamad Musauni. To make our plan a reality, the Home Affairs Ministry this month held preliminary talks with the senior officials from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, revealed Master Musauni as he was tabling the 1.29 trillion budget proposal for his docket. Master Musauni said the universal ID card was also meant to do away with the hassle that one was going through before securing the ID. Upon completion of the project on card, one will have to carry with him only one ID instead of numerous documents.
Now, Uganda enacts law to stop stealing of human organs. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has signed into law the stop of stealing of human organs and tissues, the health minister said on Tuesday, in a nation where women have been reportedly duped into unnecessary surgeries. Local media have in recent years reported cases of women recruited for domestic work in the Middle East being conned into medical procedures, after which their kidneys are sold in global trafficking rings. In a tweet, Health Minister Jana Singh thanked Museveni for signing the Uganda Human Organ Donation and Transplant Bill 2023 to better regulate the area. The door is now open for Uganda to begin a new chapter of organ transplant, she said. The donation and transplant law, the first of its kind in Uganda, prohibits any commercial dealings in human organs and tissues. Punishments include life imprisonment and stiff fines.
2009 massacre trial suspended by lawyers boycott. The historic trial of the 28 September 2009 massacre in Guinea has been suspended since Monday as lawyers boycotted the hearing in a bid to get paid after 8 months, an AFP correspondent found. Noting the boycott, the court adjourned the trial until next week, reported the correspondent, who himself was due to testify. A group of lawyers, including those of former dictator Moussa Dadis Camara and a dozen former military and government officials, had given the authority until Monday to meet their demands: financial assistance for their clients' defense, the creation of a fund to pay lawyers' fee, and improved working conditions in the courtroom. The defendants, who have been detained since the start of the trial on the 28th of September 2022, have no income and are unable to meet their obligations to their lawyers. The lawyer said on the 17th of May in a letter setting out the ultimatum to the Ministry of Justice.
Now in Sudan, makeshift clinics call for volunteers and resources as fighting goes on. At a makeshift clinic in a small school in the Al Rashidin district of Omdurman, a northern suburb of the Sudanese capital, Dr. Mohammed Al-Taher and two local men turned field nurses tend to the wounded and sick. With them are a few boxes of medicines collected by neighbors. A handful of volunteers across the capital are trying to offer the services of the closed hospitals with whatever resources they can find. The idea behind these emergency rooms is to spread them geographically across all neighborhoods, meaning that each area will establish its own emergency clinic. The youths of each neighborhood have the biggest role, along with the medical staff that's already present. Mohammed Al-Taher, a Sudanese doctor and volunteer, explained. In East Darfur, according to the World Health Organization, some 30 newborn babies have died in a hospital since the fighting began, including 6 in the same week for lack of oxygen during power cuts. We are located on a front line. Most of the injuries are related to the war, like the treatment of wounds. The challenge we face is that most governmental clinics are closed and the private sector clinics aren't affordable for the majority. So people come here because they receive treatment for free, says Ashraf Nasruddin, a Sudanese volunteer.
In Libya, 23 people have been sentenced to death for Islamic State campaign. A Libya court sentenced 23 people to death and another 14 to life in prison on Monday for their role in a deadly Islamic State militant campaign that included beheading a group of Christians and seizing the city of Sirte in 2015. The Attorney General's office said in a statement that one of the persons was sentenced to 12 years in prison, 6 to 10 years and 1 to 5 years and 6 to 3 years, while 5 were acquitted and 3 others died before their case came to trial. Islamic State Libyan branch was one of the militant group's strongest outside original territory in Iraq and Syria, taking advantage of the chaos and warfare that followed a 2011 NATO-backed uprising.
That brings us to the end of our top stories. We'll be back with news from South Africa on the other side of this commercial break.
To another exciting episode of Groundwork Talk. Jullie is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik kan byt.
Now, the South African Treasury reported on the financial position of state-owned entities, and several of them remain in deep trouble. Here to give us the full details of the story, Ari Hogad. Good morning, Ari.
Yes, very good morning, Diana. Yes, there's challenges for sure, and the Treasury made known how the financial position is of all the state-owned entities. It's important for the components of the South African economy to work, of course, and lots of billions being put into these state entities. Eskom, we don't need to talk about too long. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as well, but we know the challenges. Transnet as well is in the news. Actually, there's no clear indications from Treasury actually on the situation of Transnet, but what I can say about Eskom is that there's been a loss of 21 billion South African rand that's been declared. That's for the past financial year. That's despite the 9.6% tariff increase, but now the next tariff increase is going to be 18.6% for the next year. And there's also quite a significant bailout from government, 254 billion for the next 3 years. All of this is obviously to keep South Africa's lights on. So there is a challenge. We all know that infrastructure, there's old power stations, etc. So it's well known, but still it is a concern. There's been many bailouts to Eskom as well. So hopefully that can be turned around somehow. Billions of 20 billion rand of extra diesel also burned. Then the other concern quickly is Postnet, the Post Office Service of South Africa. that's under provisional liquidation. So also apologies, also made a loss of more than 2 billion South African rand. So it is not positive news. The NEL, the state arms manufacturer, they seem to be in a little bit of a better situation, but still there's a 3 billion payout going to them from government. So lots of billions going into that. So hopefully it can be changed around, but the reality is that they're not making money at all at the moment. There's lots of money going into them.
All right, Arena, we understand that the South African rand reached a record low in trading on Tuesday. Please tell us the future of investors and traders moving forward.
Yes, it's been record lows, and I'm trying to aim for almost 20 South African rand to the dollar, but it was just a year ago, it was $15 or 15 rand to the dollar. Now it's touching 20. So that is obviously linked to this economic situation. There's unemployment, that's a big challenge. The uncertainty about the Eskom situation, that is our ability, South African ability to let the economy tick over. And there's also on governmental side, let's say instability with the BRICS coming up as well. There's been immunity that's been given, diplomatic immunity to all the members coming in. I know that's a hot topic. President Putin from Russia coming in and with the criminal court and all those things. So that is not good for the investors. That unnerves the investors. So that is reports coming back and people don't invest. So hopefully that can be addressed, but also the unemployment in South Africa needs to be addressed. There's positive things happening as well, but there's definitely challenges, so it can be addressed.
All right, now Ari, it seems every time you come on here, we have to touch on Eskom, as load shedding continues to be a big challenge. Now it seems applications for solar power installations have soared in Cape Town. Give us the details, please.
Yes, and it's for me diving into something positive in this. And it's the reality is it's winter time. So winter times put massive pressure onto the system in South Africa. So that is the reality. More electricity needed because it's just colder. So that is the negative. The positive on the one side is the example in Cape Town that people can take the initiative. There's lots of applications for new solar power on roofs. There's been quite a significant rise in that, and the incentive is a good one. You get cash back if you access to power back to the system. So if you have extra power that you can put back into the system, that you get cash back. And so I think that's the future. That's what's happening in China at the moment. They've been putting solar all over their roofs, and they're putting lots of energy back into the system. So maybe that's the future for us. We have lots of sunshine like Namibia. So hopefully that will be the way to go in future.
We do hope so.
All right, now the water and sanitation infrastructure is being assessed in 8 metros of South Africa as the current cholera outbreaks put focus on the quality of South Africa's drinking water. Tell us about this.
I think it's a wake-up call for all the metros. There's 8 metros in South Africa, and it's also very closely linked to the Eskom situation and the people, well, let's call it people, the people that's knowledgeable on the subject has been warning the government that they must look at the infrastructure of the water systems in South Africa as well. And that's got to do with the sewage pipes, etc., with purification reservoirs. There's lots of infrastructure that needs to be updated. Lots of money needed. There's actually 100 billion South African rand budgeted needed now to make upgrades. That's not coming fast enough. So the suspicion is, at the moment, it's not confirmed yet. The suspicion is that it's obviously the quality of the water in Hammanskraal that led to the cholera outbreak. 23 people died, 141 is diagnosed with that. So they live in very difficult situations. So it is a lack of maintenance, and there is not enough funds for upgrades. So that definitely needs lots of attention for South Africa to make sure that cholera is not a challenge in our country. We need clean water, and people, that's a right as well. They deserve clean water. So hopefully that will be something that the government will take serious as well, and make sure that the cholera is not a big challenge in our country.
All right, thank you so much, Ari, for bringing us the latest news on the ground in South Africa.
It's a big pleasure, and we stay positive. There's good things happening as well, and there's a beach behind me. I'll go there sometime today, maybe, and just smile and wave.
Just smile and wave and forget all about your troubles. All right, now Eni Haufiku from Agro Provision says new methods of farming is key. In this video, instead, Haufiku tells us more about hydroponics.
So now in Namibia itself, the old way of farming is out. Because we do not have enough rain, our soils are dying out. We have to merge the old way of farming with the new technology and see how we can secure ourselves with food. Many people lack of land. We have a problem. Many people want to farm. Everybody wants to farm. The problem is land. Not everybody can afford land, or sometimes the space we have is too small. Okay, but there is a solution, which is hydroponics. Now, hydroponics, you do not need big land at all, not at all, and it also saves up to 90% of the water. Now, this is very much suitable for Namibia because we do not have water. In this system, we recirculate the water over and over again. So if you have tomatoes in there, you can have tomatoes for a very, very long time, and then you don't even have to refill water because the water in there can be used for the whole of 2 or 3 months of the tomato growing season. So then we don't refill water every time, like in open field horticulture, where you have to irrigate every time and most of the water is going up. In this system, it is not the same. And this system can take up so many crops, so many different crops. You can have tomatoes in there, you can have lettuce in there. This is specifically the lettuce system that is in Uganda, just behind Nampower in the city. And they are supplying almost to the whole of restaurants in Eros, and now they are setting up a system in Safari again. So it is a very good system, and one can have it anywhere. Okay, you don't need a big land for it. You don't need a lot of water for it because we are using about 10% of the 100% water. Okay, almost every crop can go here. Even strawberry, which is a very high value crop, can go in there. Okay, and with this system, one have to choose which crops to put in depending on your demand or your preference. If you are growing it for yourself, then it's what you like. But if you are growing it for the market, then you must have a market. Now, here at the village, we mostly have lettuce because people like fresh salad. So we have different types of lettuce. You can see that those are different varieties because people prefer different varieties. And this is a harvest of almost everything to all the restaurants there. So there is money in the systems. And they are using less water to farm.
In our economic news this morning, Namibia targets stakes in resource companies minus share fall. Namibia is considering taking minority stakes in mining and petroleum producers to reap more value from its mineral wealth, the African country's mining minister told lawmakers, weighing on the shares of mostly Australia-listed miners on Tuesday. Namibia is one of the biggest uranium producers in the world. It is also a major diamond producer and has significant hard rock lithium deposits.
Now moving over to Zimbabwe, nighttime shopping booms as inflation soars. Now after the sun sets in Harare, the streets of Zimbabwe's capital suddenly burst to life. Carts, cars and trucks turned into makeshift unauthorized shops, sell anything from potatoes to babies' nappies on the pavements of the city center. Shopping is best done at night in times of hyperinflation and economic hardship. Cash-crying Zimbabweans are increasingly turning to informal vendors for their groceries shopping, as with little or no overheads, street hawkers can afford to undercut big supermarkets. Everything is always cheaper outside. Blessing Stephen, 23, a taxi driver, says buying a bottle of juice for 50 cents at a roadside stall rather than in a supermarket where it costs $1. That is it for our economic news. Now he was just here bringing us news from South Africa, and here he is again with the sports news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. The French Open well on its way. It mostly first round games that was concluded. In the men's side of the draw, it is Carlos Alcaraz, number 1 seed, safely through to the next round. He won his first round game match against Flavio Cobolli of Italy by 6-love, 6-2 and 7-5. Also through is Italian Yannick Sinner, 8th seed. He beat Alexander Muller of France by also in 3 sets. And then it was number 3 seed Novak Djokovic. He's one of the favorites. He's in the same side of the draw as Carlos Alcaraz. They might meet in the semi-finals if all goes to plan for both of them. But it's Novak Djokovic also off to a winning side in the first round, beat Alex Kabovic, and he beat him by in 3 sets. Not a good start, not a good tournament though for Felix Auger-Aliassime of Canada. He's a number 10th seed, but he's out of the tournament. He's going home. He lost to Fabio Fognini, his experienced clay court player from Italy. The score there is 6-4, 6-4 and 6-3 in the third set. On the women's side of the draw, it was Sloane Stephens of America that had a good result. She's unseeded, but in the first round she beat Karolina Pliskova, the 16th seed, and she beat her by 6-love and 6-4. Quite a good start for Sloane Stephens in the tournament. Also number 10 seed, Petra Kvitova, she's out. She lost to Elisabetta Cassioretto, and the score 6-3 and 6-4. Better for some of the other seeds that through to the second round. It is 20th seed, that is Madeleine Keys. She's through to the second round. And also Caroline Garcia, she's from France, number 5 seed, one of the favorites in the tournament. She's obviously from France, and she's also through. She beat Xing Wang from China. That was also in a tough game in 3 sets. And we continue with cricket news. It's the Indian Premier League final that was played, the IPL, and the winners of the 2023 title is the Chennai Super Kings. Game was meant to be played on Sunday. There was rain around. There was also rain that affected the game that was on Monday. Firstly, what happened was Chennai Super Kings beat the Gujarat Titans by 5 wickets. That's their 5th title that they've achieved for the franchise. What happened in the game was a high-scoring game. 214 for 4, that was the score for the Gujarat Titans, the highest score in a final ever, and it was Sai Sudhansan that scored 96. It was rain affected then, and the chase for the Chennai Super Kings was reduced to 15 overs. They needed to score 171 runs because of the Duckworth-Lewis system. They did it on the very last ball of the 15th over to win by 5 wickets, and Devon Conway of New Zealand, he's the big star there. He scored 47 of just 25 deliveries.
Well, we've brought you up to speed with all the latest news across our continent and even in the sporting world. But in case you need a quick recap, here are the highlights. Tanzania lays the groundwork for issuing universal ID. Uganda enacts law to stop stealing of human organs. 2009 massacre trial suspended by lawyers boycott. Namibia targets stakes in resource companies, miners' shares fall.
And those have been our stories. We thank you very much for watching our show on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Please be reminded that you can watch this particular show on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 25. We also welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can post them on our Twitter and Facebook pages. On that note, it's all our love, all our light, and happy Wednesday.